talking about religion that day, 'cause the sermon hit my conscience like a knife. It was a heart-to-heart experience with God himself that would change the whole complexion of my life. They were singing, power, power, wonder working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. There is power.
Come to the river, poured out from his veins, that washes.
Well, bless the name of the Lord. A very warm welcome to you on this, the first day of October. Our Bible reading today is from the book of Luke, chapter 22, verses 1 to 6. Now the feast of the unleavened bread, called the Passover, was approaching, and the chief priest and the teachers of the law were looking for some way to get rid of Jesus, for they were afraid of the people. Then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12. And Judas went to the chief priests and officers of the temple guard and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. They were delighted and agreed to give him money. He consented and watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no crowd was present. Even though the chief priests and teachers of the law were looking for a way to kill Jesus, they were paralyzed by the fear of the people. The word translated afraid in verse 2 actually means to put in fear, terrify, or frighten, to cause, to run away, fearful and afraid. The Hebrew Greek keyword study Bible in New Testament says, sounds to me like these guys were afraid of the wrong thing. Better to fear God than man. We find this truth expressed so well in the book of Acts chapter 4 verses 18 to 20. Then they called them in again and commanded them not to speak or teach at all in the name of Jesus. But Peter and John replied, "Judge for yourselves whether it is right in God's sight to obey you rather than God. For we cannot help speaking about what we have seen and heard." In Acts chapter 5 verse 29, Peter also said in the next chapter of Acts, we must obey God rather than men. Proverbs tell us that we are not to be fearful of man. Proverbs 29:25. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. So God places his people in a position of testimony, giving us an opportunity to proclaim how he has been kind to us, the deeds he has done, and the compassion that he has shown us. We are not to be intimidated. The glory of the Lord is worth more than the approval of men. To tremble or to be fearful of man will inevitably be a noose around our necks, luring, ensnaring, and entangling us into sin. In pleasing man over God, we are asking for sure trouble. We are to be faithfully following the way of Jesus, boldly teaching his truth in love through our actions and through our words. Charles Spurgeon said this, "Never for fear feeble men restrain your witness." In our verses for today, we find Judas, one of the 12, sadly selling his soul for mere silver. And yet Jesus, knowing exactly who would betray him, treated Judas no differently than his other disciples, even to the point that all of them questioned who Jesus was referring to when he told them that one would betray him. This is a wideness in God's mercy, like the wideness of the sea. In John chapter 13 verses 21 to 22, after he had said this, Jesus was troubled in spirit and testified, "I tell you the truth, one of you is going to betray me." His disciples stared at one another at a loss to know which of them he meant. So I want you to know today, nothing takes Jesus by surprise. Great is God's mercy, his love and faithfulness through Jesus. So follow him. My encouragement to you today is follow Jesus. Let us not betray Jesus like Judas did, but let us follow the Master from the setting of the sun, from the rising of the sun to the setting of the same. And I want you to know that my God can and my God is able. So open up your eyes and your hearts to Jesus Christ, who is the author and the finisher of your faith. And I want you to know that with God, all things are possible. God bless you and have a great, great day.
To the river poured out from his veins.